What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Sunday Shift Report. The crap has hit the fan. Seems like every week the crap is hitting the fan, or even daily at this point. We got a lot of important stuff to go over. I'm going to try not to go long, but I can never promise that. Sometimes I go down these tangents and whatnot. But I appreciate you guys hanging out and watching these premieres as I put them out on Sundays. Every Sunday I try to, unless something comes up. So, just for you folks that want to know what we're going to be talking about, being that you can only put so much in a thumbnail or a description, is we're going to talk about the DHS issues a national terrorism advisory, an updated one because the other one expired, and I just hope that you folks. I linked it down below. I think I linked most of these articles down below. You should read it. You truly should read this information. And maybe I'm reading into it wrong. That's always a possibility. That's why I always tell everyone to, go a little further than what I'm just telling you. Even though most of us are like-minded on this channel, it's still something that you should, draw some of your own conclusions from. I want to show you a clip. I'm going to mute out the music on it due to the fact that, the music is copyrighted. It's something I want to show you that goes to show that the narrative that's being pushed the other night, was it Saturday? This whole committee, production show that the ABC, CNN, and all the three-letter alphabet communist news nations wanted to portray. There was a few of them out there that actually went deeper than the BS that they were feeding people. But there's just one clip that I want. Why doesn't this clip make the rounds on news media? It's hard to find too, folks. Anyways, I want to show you how Corn Pop is sending, over triple digits, anywhere from $300 to $600 million because of his concern to fight food shortages. But guess what, folks? It's not here in America. It's not here. It's somewhere else, and we'll dive into that as well. And of course, gas has hit, the average cost of gas has hit over $5. $5 for the first time in U.S. history. It's not like it's hit $5 before and all this stuff like that. This is, and what I mean by, some people are going to take it out of context. Well, in California, it's been this before. Sure, whatever. What I'm talking about is the national average for gasoline, regular gasoline, has now hit a record. Never in history has it been this high for the national average. Something, let that sink in for a minute, you know what I mean? Because this is going to affect a lot of people. I even on, I don't know if it was on a Sunday Shift Report or on a live stream, but I told everyone months and months ago when it was getting to the $3.29 and it was just skyrocketing at that point, and I said, oh, we'll hit $5 by summer. I was a little off. I said by August. Here we are in June. So now what concerns me is, where will we be in August? I have a clip for that too, because it was foretold by someone else that you guys might know, number 45, who said if this gentleman was to win the election, per se, where gas would go. And guess what? All the news agencies, everybody said it was all BS. But here we are. Look at our economy. Look at the gas. Look at everything around you since this administration has been in power. And that's why I asked that question. What is their plan? What are they planning? What is their end game? A lot of us have speculated on this topic, and I honestly hope that we're absolutely wrong. Anyways, a couple other things that popped off in the news. Also an FBI warning, and also a warning from one of our generals in regards to China. And don't forget, I'm not going to talk about it. You guys probably keep tabs on what's going on in Ukraine and Russia. They may not want you to know that Russia is making forward strides in their war, or whatever you want to call it, in Ukraine. But I'm pretty sure there's other channels out there that probably go over that information, and I feel like I don't want to be redundant, even though sometimes I am, because, sometimes I don't get things until after the fact. That being said, like I said, this is everything on this channel is based on my opinion, my speculation, my research, and my experience. And I thank you all for being here that do enjoy my content. And if you haven't hit that thumbs up button yet, please do so. It's definitely going to help the channel out, and also in the aspect of spreading the message. A lot of folks like myself who are just trying to teach people about emergency preparedness or share information that's relevant that's not in mainstream media get suppressed in very heavily, very heavily. Uh, so it's luckily if any of us ever break out of this rut compared to the growth that we would have if we were some channel about, let me cook this, or let me, this is the game I play and I blow stuff up, and, just stuff like that. You know what I mean? That you might have more of an opportunity. Anyways, I'm sorry. Like I said, I get down these tangents. You know what I mean? And yeah. Anyways, so let's jump into it. Let's start off with the DHS issues the National Terrorism Advisory. And what does this mean for you? That's the question a lot of folks ask. What does this mean for you? Do we care? Why should we care? Do we need to read into this? For my suggestion, I think you should. It's better to be informed than to be in the dark. Because once you open your eyes, folks, to what's literally going on around you in this country and abroad, I mean, it's global at this point. It's a bit frightening for a lot of people. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and throw up this on the screen and talk about it, So here it says like I said, I don't have to repeat the title there. You can see that on the screen. It says today's Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas issued a National Terrorism Advisory System bulletin regarding the continued heightened threat environment across the United States. This is the sixth NTAS bulletin issued by the Department of Homeland Security since January 2021, and it replaces the current bulletin that was set to expire at 2 p.m. Eastern today, which was June 7th. It says, as recent acts of violence in communities across the country have so tragically demonstrated, the nation remains in a heightened threat environment. And it says, and we can expect that environment will become more dynamic in the coming months. And like I said, coming towards November. Anyway, said Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, the Department of Homeland Security remains steadfast in our commitment to provide the timely information and resources to the American public and our partners across every level of government, in law enforcement, and in the private sector. This includes regular engagements with stakeholders to maintain awareness about the threat environment, trainings, and online resources to help communities stay safe. Increased sharing of information with law enforcement partners, and millions of dollars in grant funding opportunities for communities and organizations to enhance security and advance prevention efforts. So the next part I have highlighted because of what this threat level advisory is pretty much about. And what are we seeing? What are we seeing all over mainstream media basically since January, folks? It says, in the coming months, the Department of Homeland Security expects the threat environment to become more dynamic, and several high-profile events could be exploited to justify acts of violence against a range of possible targets. These targets could include public gatherings, faith-based institutions like your churches and whatnot, schools, racial, ethnic, and religious minorities, there's the race card, government facilities and personnel, Supreme Court, U.S. critical infrastructure, our grid, the media, and perceived ideological opponents. So when they say ideological opponents, who are they talking about? Are they saying, the folks that they have now labeled, I think Corn Pop said, first it was labeled Ultra MAGA or Super MAGA, and then it went into MAGA Gang now. It just seems to be that they're pushing anybody who associates with number 45, be it if you're in Congress or if you're a U.S. citizen, you might be one of these ideological opponents and an enemy of the state. This is my perception, and this is how I'm perceiving this from my own, reading of this material. So are you, someone who believes in God, who believes in the Constitution, who might be a conservative? Are you one of these ideological opponents? Will they come for you? Will they come for you is the question, right? Do you say something wrong? Did you buy something you shouldn't have bought? Something that was questionable? And the list goes on, folks. That's my question. Where is this going to go? How far are they going to push this? What kind of events are going to unfold that they're going to use in their favor to push a narrative upon we, the people? Anyways, we can go a little bit further into this article. It says threat actors have recently mobilized to violence due to factors such as personal grievances, reactions to current events, and adherence to violent extremist ideologies, including racially or ethnically motivated or anti-government or anti-authority violent extremism. My question is, what do they mean by anti-government? There's folks out there who just want less government per the Constitution, more we the people, less government. Does that mean that you're an extremist? Are you going to be labeled as an extremist? Am I going to be labeled an extremist because I just like to be left alone and raise my family and live the American dream? Questions, many, many questions. Anyways, this is foreign adversaries, including terrorist organizations and nation-state adversaries, also remain intent in exploiting the threat environment to promote or inspire violence, sow discord, or undermine, U.S. democratic institutions. DHS continues to assess that the primary threat of mass casualty violence in the United States stems from lone offenders and small groups motivated by a range of ideological beliefs and or personal grievances. But when they're talking about, terrorist organizations and nation-state adversaries, do they mean the Russians? Do they mean the Chinese? Do they mean the Iranians, the North Koreans? Is that who they're trying to specify? People that have threatened the U.S. in regards to, westernization of other places that are getting too close to their borders? Questions, 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 right? And we could only wish that we would love to get these questions answered. You know what I mean? It's crazy to think, what are they thinking and who are they looking at? I guess we'll find out, folks. I guess we'll find out eventually as we move through this summer. And I don't think it's going to, some people are going to label it the summer of love. But I think that we're going to see a lot more things transpire. And I pray. I truly do. I pray that you, my viewers out there, are safe, that you guys are prepared, that you guys are ready for whatever does come down the pipe. At least the best you can be. Give yourself a chance. Give yourself an opportunity for you and your family to get through whatever happens to transpire over the next few months, possibly years. All right, enough of that. Let's move that over. I see you guys are busy in Discord, which is good to hear. I pay attention and I watch. And I like to read your guys' conversations. I guess let's jump into the FBI warning real quick. Since we're on the DHS, let's jump over to the FBI and throw that up on the screen here. And I'm very curious how this plays out because by this warning, they're kind of saying that they're going to go after possibly the other side. I don't know, to be honest with you. And I hate to say their sides because we're all American people, but division is best set for the narrative. So they're going to continue to divide as best as they can. Anyways, it says FBI warns it won't tolerate violence amid Supreme Court abortion ruling. So if that ruling happens to play more towards the conservative viewpoint, what is the far left folks going to do? Like the groups like Antifa and other organizations alike. It says the FBI warned Friday that it will not tolerate violence, destruction, interference with government functions, or trespassing on government property after an armed man was arrested earlier this week near the Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh's home. On Wednesday, officials arrested 26-year-old Nicholas John Rosk near Kavanaugh's Maryland home and said he allegedly wanted to end the justice's life after a leaked draft opinion suggested that the Supreme Court would soon overturn Roe v. Wade. And I swear I've said this before, that we were going to see a lot more of these types of individuals uh, do some crazy things. And as we've seen, supposedly the number of mass shootings are insane. It's everywhere you look. It's that's the news cycle. Every single day, it seems that there's some sort of mass shooting. But I've already proven a point with that, folks. I've proven a point by using the own FBI statistics that in 2021 there was in California, where the strictest gun laws are, that there was 8.3 mass shootings, or not, sorry, every 8.3 days there was a mass shooting in California in 2021, where they have again the most strictest gun laws. Something to think about, right? Why don't they share that information? Why don't they share that information? Is it because it's gang violence? Is it because it's minority on minority violence? Like, why? Why not, put out the facts, the truth, and let the American people decide on how they view this or feel about this? I like to hear all sides of the story, not just one side, so that I can make a better conclusion of how I want to interpret it in my own view. Anyway, so that's what the feds had to say in regards to that. Where should we now? Let's stay here local first before we jump overseas. We'll save the overseas stuff for the end, for the wrap up, I guess. Let's look at here on my channel and many other channels like it. We've been talking about the farmers are screaming at the top of their lungs, saying there's a food crisis coming this fall because of labor, gas, inflation, fertilizer issues, and the list goes on with this whole structure of our supply chain that's in disarray. And no one specifically knows when it's going to be resolved. And it doesn't seem like they have answers either when you try to dig into it. People have suggestions, but it's always let's throw money at this, but inside that money there's all this other crap that has nothing to do with resolving the issue. Anyways, let me throw it up on the screen. I don't know how many of you folks are aware of this. It's a bit smaller to read, but I'll read it. Of course, that's what I'm doing here tonight, or this afternoon. It says, Latin America first, not America. Corn Pop commits $331 million to fight food shortages in Latin America. This $331, whose money is that? Is it our government's money? Or is it the taxpayers' money? Who voted on this? Who made this decision? Was it the American people that are suffering right now? Because I hear it every day. People are telling me they can't afford the gas prices anymore because their paychecks are still the same, but everything else has gone up. Excuse me, folks. It says, according to a report from the Daily Wire, the Corn Pop administration is doing its part to combat food shortages in America. No, Latin America. Corn Pop & Co. have announced $331 million in food security and humanitarian aid for Latin American nations. Quick reminder for Joe, we're in a bit of a crisis here at home as well. No way. Are we? Are we? Mind blown. Anyways, this contribution will complement the United States' existing commitment to providing life-saving humanitarian assistance responding to acute food insecurity and advancing capacity-building activities that bolster disaster preparedness and response across Latin America and the Caribbean, a White House statement said. The total aid package, the total aid package amounts to $645 million, over $500 million, and includes support for refugee and migrant populations, as well as cooperative efforts on climate-smart economic reform, aka, the Green New Deal, per se. Anyways, it says 1/3 of the world's food is produced in the Americas, and the current global food crisis is an opportunity and responsibility for the region to step up to supply a greater share of the world's commodities, the White House statement said. The United States will commit during the summit to work together to increase food production for export, increase fertilizer production if they don't burn the places down, and transportation. if they have enough truckers. Do you guys know since January, getting your CDL is different at this point? I talked to truckers. I had some friends in the industry, and they said, yes, you used to be able to go to, he tried to explain it to me, and I'm not going to try to regurgitate it because I'll get it wrong. But anyways, he said now, since January, if you want to get your CDL, at least from his perspective, I'm just going by his perspective, you have to take a course that's 6 months long due to some of the issues that arose like out in Colorado with young drivers. So 6 months. So anybody who wants to get in the field, which is already hurting for drivers to transport stuff like food and medical supplies and other important things all over the U.S., now you have to wait 6 months before you will get your CDL license. To me, that just further exacerbates the situation. Anyways, it's like a delayed reaction. To me, they would seem like they would try to go in a different route from my perspective. I get safety and all that, but it just seems odd that it's gone and been pushed to this section. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm known to be wrong. I'm known to read into things and make judgment on it mistakenly and get it wrong. So maybe I am. It doesn't hurt to say and admit that you're wrong sometimes. I've been wrong. I'm not perfect. I am a human being, and I don't expect to be perfect. Anyways, and it says, and to improve agriculture efficiency through technical solutions and information exchanges. But anyways, just to show you that over $500 million to help with food shortages in those situations are being sent elsewhere because America's last. America is last. We don't care. Well, not we. They don't care. Just like all the food, some people are like, well, America grows this and grows that. But as I told you, they have contractual obligations that regardless of what happens, no matter if we have nothing here in this country, they will still ship those contractual obligations overseas. If we only grow enough 30% wheat this year, and they have to send 20% to all the contracts or countries that they had these deals with, they're going to do that first, and whatever's left, the American people will be there to, I guess, deal with. Anyways, like I said, folks, it's just every time I turn around, things get worse. We're always hoping for the best. It's not that we want to. For people to have more fear, to get more depressed, to get more worrisome. But, what are we supposed to do? Stand here and ignore the situation? Not talk about it? I mean, honestly, wouldn't you want to know what's going on? Wouldn't you want to know what's happened with your tax dollars and things like that? Being that you're probably struggling more so than you did a few years ago? And things are going to be progressing worse? I mean, I like to know. That's why I try to stay as informed as possible. I don't let it consume me to the point where I'm not going to enjoy my time with my family or do the things that I'm doing and preparing and growing my food and stuff. But I'm going to be informed. Before we get into these clips, let me go into this one last article. It's not a last article, but gas. Because gas is affecting everybody. And people never look at the big picture when it comes to gas. You know what I mean? Because gas is like this domino that leads into a large critical situation. And here with the title, the headline is Average Cost for a Gallon of Gas Hits $5 for the first time in U.S. history. Never has the average cost for a gallon of gas been $5. Great job. Great job, 46. Great job. Something to leave for your legacy. I'm sure folks are proud of you. Anyways, what I mean by that is people think their pockets. I have to go to work. I need to fill my tank, and it's going to cost me twice what it used to cost me just a year ago, right? Yes, that is a big problem for the American people, individual, as a personal problem. Now, when you look at the bigger picture, tractors that do all the harvesting, like the combines and all the other equipment that farmers use need gas. It costs more. So if they don't have that cost, they're not going to do what they normally do. Or they're going to raise the cost of the food that they're producing. And once it gets to the distributor and trucked, Now that the trucks have to pay for more gas to this place, and then those places have to pay for it to get delivered elsewhere. And this whole process that takes gasoline. So the cost is going to continuously rise until people, when you go to the store and you look, people have already seen the whole egg situation. They're becoming more scarce or more expensive, but everything has gone up. Food inflation is extremely high. And also the reduction of what you're getting. So when you look at the big picture, when you used to get 8 ounces of, I'm going to use corn. I'm just going to use that for an example. 8 ounces of corn for, let's say, $1, right? Well, now they've made it smaller, and you only get 5 ounces of corn, and it's $3. Do you see how these inflation numbers are just a joke, just to make you seem like, hey, it's only 30% or 18% or whatever it may be. But you're also getting less for that money that you're putting into that. So you're getting less food. So when you look at that whole situation and you look at those numbers, inflation is extremely a lot higher than they're telling you. I mean, just think about it logically, folks. I mean, I'm just being honest with you. Think about it logically. Look at what you would get last year and the size of the cans, and even as something as simple as, drinks like soda. I've seen they go smaller and smaller, but the price keeps on going higher and higher. Anyways, the average price of gallon of gasoline hits $5 a gallon the first time in history. The average price hit $5 on June 11th, according to the American Automobile Association, which tracks prices. The average is the average is as high as $6.43 in some states, including California, go figure, and as low as $4.46 in other states such as Alabama. Here in Florida, when I looked on the way home, it was $4.48 a gallon. No, I'm wrong. It was I think it was either $4.78 or $4.88. It was right around there. It's getting close to $5. And like I said, we'll probably see $5 sooner than later. Anyways, Gas Buddy and other trackers says the national average struck $5 on June 9th. Either way, the price has soared since Corn Pop took office in January of 2021 and has risen by $2 a gallon since 1 year ago and about 20 cents from a week ago. Devin Galvin, spokesman for the AAA, said the surging prices stem in part from demand outpacing supply as people typically drive more during the summer. Exactly what I tried to reference early on this year. Gadden told the Epoch Times that the prices will likely keep rising, especially if the OPEC, basically, I don't feel like I need to read the whole thing, but OPEC, a coalition of oil-producing countries, doesn't ramp up productions. Well, the problem is the Saudis and OPEC and these other oil-producing nations don't like Corn Pop. So do you think they care what happens? Do you think they care? Because they're still going to make money. They're going to make billions and billions of dollars regardless. Anyways, and man, it blows my mind to see how everything is playing out right in front of us. And some people are ignoring it like it doesn't exist. What's funny is, I'm going to see it. I'm going to make sure. Where is it at? We were warned. We were warned about gas. And, a lot of newspapers and media places like CNN, ABC, NBC, MSNBC, and whatever all the different crap is called, told us that it was all a conspiracy. It was all a ploy by the right to try to smear 46. And a lot of people, I think this was during the election cycle when number 45 was out there trying to explain to folks this is what's probably going to happen. And like I said, they just try to say it was just it was all fake news. Here, so let me run this. Throw it up on the screen.
We have more oil than anybody, okay? And it's an incredible thing that it's happened over the last few years, a lot of great things, and you're paying, what, $2 a gallon for your gasoline? That's okay. You know what that's like? That's like a tax cut. That's bigger than a tax cut. If Biden got in, you'd be paying $7, $8, $9. Then they say, get rid of your car.
And they will say, get rid of your car. What are we seeing? What are we seeing? We have seen gas prices jump. Now, the $7, $8, $9, that may be still to come. But we were warned that if 45 was to lose the election, this is what we would see. And again, what do they want you to do? They want you to go out and buy these electric vehicles. And I could go down a tangent with that and all the different pros and cons and the absurdity that you'll hear from folks pushing this. But we'll save that for a later date. So how is that fake news? How do these news agencies now? And I've told you, news agencies can legally lie to you. Can legally lie to you with no problem at all, without no repercussions. Are they coming back saying, "Hey, we were wrong. Number 45 was correct. Sorry." You know what I mean? Sorry to the American people that we try to, bamboozle you so that you would not vote for this person, but vote for that person kind of situation. And that's where we're at today. A lot of folks are hoping that November is going to be a big red wave. Who knows what's going to happen from now and until November? What's going to happen? What event is going to happen that's going to create some sort of crazy issue? And then after the fact, no matter what happens in November, who's going to be upset? The right, the left, the moderates, the independents. Whatever happens, folks, no matter what happens, if there's going to be a SHTF crap show, basically moving on down the line into 2023. Anyways, folks, one thing, if you guys watched that ridiculous theatrical production of what transpired on the 6th, I want to know, why didn't they didn't show this? Now, I'm going to mute it because, like I said, it has music in there, but it has subtitles, big enough for you to see. So let me throw this on the screen, and would love to hear your thoughts either in the comment section or in the premiere. But let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to go ahead and put it up there for you now. And you do see the hat he's wearing, right? And look what they're doing. They're just standing there. He's telling them to call for backup. Get some help. Nothing. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. Why didn't they show that the other night? Why didn't they show that? Because they're trying to smear the whole situation, that every American that had a red hat on is bad. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure some folks did intend to go there and create a situation. But what about the the feds that were involved in that? Possibly some of the jackals per, the CIA and whatnot. How do we know that, there's so much questions to be answered, but they're not answering them because it doesn't fit the narrative. They don't want to hear anything but what they want you to believe, or the American people. So that don't focus on inflation. Don't focus on gas prices. Don't focus on food. Don't focus on your rent jumping 20, 30, 40%. Don't focus on that, folks. What you really need to focus on is that you should not have a conservative viewpoint. That you should not, basically, to me, what their goal is to make sure that 45 can't run again. To arrest, to criminalize, to smear him through this whole process. If it goes down that way, it's going to blow me away, to be honest with you, because we've seen some weird things, like just what happened in Michigan. There was someone who was doing well in the primaries, a Republican, and the FBI raided his home and arrested him because they said they thought that he had something to do with the J6. And come to find out, he said he wasn't even there. But he's doing too good. He's threatening Whitmer's position there. At least from my perspective, I don't know. Maybe I'm just one of those tinfoil hat wearing guys, Anyways, and then we have this organization here. I'm going to throw this up on the screen and talk over it. So we have this organization here. A lot of you guys have heard of them. They're like the Patriot Front. And a lot of people think this is just some sort of propaganda group, maybe far right, far left. Who knows what they really stand for? I don't know anybody in this organization. I've heard lots of negative things about this organization. But supposedly they got, some sort of information that they were going to riot at this. I think it was like some sort of pride thing that was going on, and they were there, I guess, to assemble. I don't know if they were to peacefully assemble or not. They said that they were there to riot. But I'm looking to see how the story turns out. A lot of these things, the things, this group and organization has been infiltrated by the feds and whatnot, and that's what mostly you're seeing there. Is a dog and pony show and whatnot. So it could be, for all I know. I really don't know much. I've tried to read into it. There's a lot of people say it's really a racial neo-Nazi extremist group and all this other stuff. And I looked at some of the research behind it and watched some of the old material with it. Personally, I don't give a rat's ass. And my apologies for swearing. But like I said, to me, it's just a dog and pony show. They want to keep on showing anybody who has an American flag on or anything like that, that those folks are the bad folks. But if you're wrapped in a rainbow thing, majiggy, you're an American. You're state of the art at that point. That's what it should be. I mean, when I watched the commercial for the Marines with the little rainbow thing on there, I'm like, what? Why can't we just look? If you are what you are. I don't really care, to be honest with you. But in life in general, why do we have to make it why do we have to turn it into mainstream? You know what I mean? I showed you last week what was happening, and now of course, Governor DeSantis here in Florida is having to pass legislation, and Anthony Sabatini is trying to push for legislation so that kids are not exposed to that kind of material, because kids shouldn't be exposed to any of that type of material, be it if it's a pride situation or if it's just a regular adult themed situation. To me, it's our children. And when they're that young, their minds are extremely impressionable, and they're being exposed to things they should not be exposed to at the age that they are. That's just my point of view. Maybe, like I said, maybe I'm just crazy. Maybe I'm just I'm old. I'm an old school parent. You know what I mean? Maybe I look at my grandparents and those folks, and I still think that that's the way children should be raised versus this new crap that they're trying to shove down everybody's throat. Anyways, funny enough, there was a anti-gun thing, I think, in Washington D.C. or somewhere in that generalized area. I could be wrong. I forget where it was. And it was ironic because these people act so tough, and they're out there screaming, you baby killers, and you're this and you're that, and why do you need these things, and so on and so forth. But the mere mention that there might be even a possibility, even though there wasn't no possibility. There was nobody in there. Someone just happened to say something. And here, watch for yourself. I'll throw it on the screen for you. As they're preaching what they're in, all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose. And they're jumping and stomping and, all over each other and whatnot. And the lady comes over the mic and says, hey, by the way, yeah, I don't know what you guys are doing. There's no threat here. But they're so tough. They're so tough. But the mere mention of a firearm or anything, not a shot, just the mere mention of it, and they're basically, trampling each other to get away from whatever the situation may be. Yeah, I get it. Fear does wonders to folks. But, and this is why I just, it's hard to go out and want to be a part of a large gathering and doing something this day and age, because either either something is going to go sideways or whatnot, and things are going to go bad. Just with the environment that we're in now. Anyways, I just wanted to share that because I saw it, and I just was like looking at these people and watching them, and then all of a sudden, oh, you didn't hear it right or whatever, and they're all like shocked, like, what do you mean? I just trampled over Bob and Sarah. Anyways, I'm going to try to wrap this up. It went long. We're at 40 minutes, so my apologies. Sometimes I just get going, folks. I just get going. Anyways, this happens to do with China, you know what I mean? I wanted to bring this up because some people forget that China still doesn't... China, to me, is one of the bigger, more concerning issues for myself. What I think is coming down the pipe down the road. Be it if they take Taiwan or whatever else that they may be doing out there. There's also some buildup on the Indian border. The Chinese are building. They're they're getting ready for something, folks. Anyways, the U.S. is to blame for rising tensions in the Pacific, and America's Indo-Pacific strategy will only further divide the region and ultimately is doomed to failure, a Chinese military official said on Sunday. Now, some people say, well, who is this Chinese military official? I'm going to put it this way. If you're going to say something and you're speaking for the Chinese, you have the, especially in the Chinese military, you have the authority by Xi and the powers that be to say that. So it's not something like somebody's just saying this to say it, because if you say something that doesn't jive with their program, you probably will never be seen again. Anyways, this was stated on Sunday. The sharp comments from the Chinese Lieutenant General Zhang Zong came just for hours after the U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin spoke at a high-level Shangri-La dialogue in Singapore and blasted China's provocative and destabilizing military activity near Taiwan. The normally reserved Mr. Austin delivered a stinging rebuke of China's rapidly growing military footprint throughout the Pacific, specifically its recent military aircraft flyovers near Taiwan. Those Chinese actions and other, Mr. Austin said, have led to higher tensions in the region. He pledged that the U.S. would help maintain peace and stability in the Pacific and would continue to provide aid to Taiwan's defense forces. Excuse me. Anyways, so the Chinese have continuously said and made multiple warnings that if we push forward, that there will be consequences for the United States. Look where we're at now with all the consequences. I mean, I don't see things slowing down in Russia. I don't see Putin slowing down on what he's doing. Nothing has deterred him from reaching his goal. Whatever that goal may be, I guess eventually we'll find out. Long-term goals, regardless of what this side says or what that side says. Only the future will elaborate on what transpires and what the end result will be. And like I said, I'm really watching China closely because I'm very curious, how far are they willing to go? Are they willing to go all in? Or are they going to continue to kind of sit on that back burner and watch us destroy ourselves before making their move? Anyways, folks, I want to thank every single one of you awesome, amazing people for joining me on the Sunday Shift premiere. I truly appreciate you folks. Mods, thank you so much for doing what you do. You guys are some awesome people. Thank you so much. Please, folks, understand one thing, man. You need to truly be prepping anything that you can. If you can afford it, grab it. It's better to have than not have in any situation that arises down the road. So, folks, please be safe. Know that you're not alone. This is GreyMan. I'm out. I'll see you guys in the rebound. God bless.